So apparently the Atlanta Falcons were headed to the Super Bowl and they blew a draft that was going to keep them from it. The San Francisco 49ers have deja vu again, this time at the wide receiver position, and the Philadelphia Eagles drafted the greatest white cornerback of all time. Maybe those are storylines coming out of the NFL draft. Welcome to another episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk with yours, Kwame Fisher-Jones. As always, I am him. And I'm joined by my man, Chris Franklin, MJ.com beat writer for the Philadelphia Eagles. Those are the three stories that I got coming out of the draft. That the Eagles draft the greatest white cornerback of all time, and there's a deficit of white cornerbacks, in the NFL. And the 49ers decided that they're going to lie to everybody and spit in their face and tell them it's raining by drafting wide receiver. But that apparently the Atlanta Falcons were heading to the Super Bowl, and they were only a wide receiver, running back, cornerback, safety, lineman, defensive lineman, offensive lineman, tight end away from going to the Super Bowl. And the drafting of Michael Penix Jr. apparently derails them from their Super Bowl hopes this year. What is all the vitriol about the team that's drafting in the top 10 without a quarterback for their future, drafting the highest rated quarterback left on the board? Am I missing something? I thought it was a good pick. What am I missing here?
I think it was a complete misuse of assets by the Falcons because I think when you think about what you gave Kirk Cousins, if you were thinking you were going to get Michael Penix Jr., you had him that highly rated when they were picking. Why not use that money to, especially, when's the last time we've heard the Atlanta Falcons we have a bona fide edge rusher that we really feel comfortable about? You don't. When's the last time you really truly feel like, you look at their defense? We have a cornerback that's going to be a true shutdown corner. Waiting. Is just look at the potential pieces they could have filled. They should have been in the Saquon Barkley race, to be honest with you. I know they had Bijan and everything. They should have had him, and he could really great. This just another weapon to add to that, and just let them grow together with Michael Penix Jr. But you spent all that money on a guy coming off a killer thing I'm still waiting to see win a game and when it matters the most. You don't get that guy. You want to all that money got, oh yeah, we're gonna add a quarterback too, by the way. Wait, what? There's so much money. I just look at it as a mismanagement of the assets and the money that they had available because they could have filled that team a lot better with the money to give to Cousins as opposed to just drafting two quarterbacks and going, well, we could have had Dallas Turner guys, but yeah, we're just gonna sit this guy back here. Or you could have had something else as a top free agent, but we're gonna sit back and go Kurt in that one. We're playing two quarterback system. Why not at this point? Jeez.
I completely. This is rare because I completely disagree with you.
All
But
right.
I'm gonna put it to you. I'm gonna pose a question to you this way: Who was the guy drafted right before Patrick Mahomes?
It wasn't
Exactly.
Trubisky. Yeah.
Well, no, not the quarterback, the player that was drafted right
Oh,
before Patrick Mahomes.
I can't think of
Exactly.
anything.
We don't know the team either, but I'll bet you donuts to dollars that team wishes they had Patrick Mahomes. Whoever their quarterback was at the time, I bet you they wish they drafted Patrick Mahomes. My point is, sometimes things just fall, and you can spend, you can overthink it and say, we can go this way, we can go that way, whatever the case may be. But if you're in a position to draft what many believe is going to be maybe not a Hall of Famer, but a quality Pro Bowl level starting quarterback for the next 10 years, why would you not make that move? Why would you? I mean, Cousins is good for maybe, people keep saying 2-3 years. I'm gonna shrink that for you. This is good for maybe 32 games. 32 games. Now he may play 17 this year and a playoff game, and then next year get him, but he's good for about 32 games. By then, Penix will be ready to roll. Your coach will have drafted or have groomed a possible defense. He'll still be on his rookie contract. I don't know what Cousins' contract looks like, but I'm almost certain it's front loaded. So he'll be off the books within 2 years. You'll have a quality team and you'll have a quarterback that's ready to go versus still trying to find a quarterback and going out and trying to sign the next Kirk Cousins. And let's be realistic here. The Falcons aren't trying to win a Super Bowl. They're trying to win a playoff game. Like, that's their victory parade, playoff game. I think that this puts them in the position because they're not I believe even with Cousins on one leg, they still have an opportunity to win that division. Injuries could derail that, but I think all the teams are about level. I don't think one is too much higher than the other. I think you would agree with me on that.
Yeah, I did.
So, why not take that shot? Because in 2 years, Derek, what are the Saints going to be doing at quarterback? What the hell are the Carolina Panthers going to be doing at quarterback? What are the Bucks going to be doing at quarterback? But you know what you'll be doing at quarterback. So you can go a different direction. That's how I took it. What say
See,
you?
for me, I thought I had Penix as my third highest rated quarterback. It kept going back and forth between. It kept going 3, 4 in that area. I just think he's really. I thought he was really good. I thought he was going to be out there. I kept going between him and Matt. Kept going back and forth. But in the end, I thought when you look at everything and what he can do down the line, I like Penix. To me, I'd rather if that was the case. If you thought, and a lot of people that I talked to, a lot of people, a lot of mock drafts, everything else, had him going mid round in the mid round. So I'm looking at him going around that area. I think if you and everything was pointing that he would go around the area, why not let Taylor Heineke start the season? Why not let him go through that year? And then you put him in there. And then you after about I'm a proponent of letting a guy go back in a year, but we all know everybody throws him in at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Let Taylor Heineke start the season, and then you put him in there, and you see what you got, and let him grow with this young receiving core. If that's the way you're going to go about it, I just think look at that. And even if you say, you know what, I like Kirk Cousins. I want to ride with him for a couple of years. Maybe I'll take a development quarter in later rounds. You can add an edge rusher, which they have not hit on whatsoever, free agency draft, whatever, and you had the best. If you went Latu, if you want to go Dallas Turner, whatever, there was there for you to do that. They need to put pressure on the quarterback. I don't feel confident with the pass rushers they have on their team right now. Why not use it on the edge, either the edge rusher or you don't sign Cousins? That's where I'm like that. I like Penix a lot. I think he's going to do very well. It's a matter of I don't think he's going to be like Mahomes level. And we've all proved wrong. Everybody goes, why is the Chiefs trade up there? But you look at it, I don't think he's going to be that level. I think he'll be good. But if that's the case, don't spend all that money on Cousins and just do all that. You're trying to get the fan base still excited. I think they would have been excited with Latu or Turner or somebody else.
The Atlanta Falcons. That's why. They were well rounded with the Atlanta. Serious, they're the Atlanta Falcons. The future is yesterday for them. And and I'm gonna say that again. The future is yesterday for them. Whatever the mistakes they made yesterday, they're chasing those mistakes, and that's what they're worried about instead of going forward. But I think they did it right. Yeah, he won't be Patrick Mahomes, and maybe that was a bit of a strong analogy. But the point is just like let's say he's the next Lamar Jackson. What was the team that picked before Lamar Jackson? I bet you they wish they had Lamar Jackson at quarterback right now. And I don't
Yeah.
know these teams offhand, but I definitely think they would. So finding and solidifying your quarterback position is key in the NFL. It's like finding and solidifying your franchise player in the NFL or the NBA, your lead pitcher and so forth as your goalie in hockey. Those positions are hard to fill. So if you have a guy you think can be a quality starter, say you do it. And you're you're big on this. You would know this. Who was rated higher than him at that point in the draft? Not going off what the Falcons need, but who was rated higher than him?
There wasn't much. You had it a lot. And see, the problem with Latu is the medicals on him were going back. I know some teams had him in at 3, 4 when it comes to that. Turner, that Terrion Arnold was up there. Some teams for the life of me, I don't know what they were thinking. They had Bo Nix ahead of them too. That's I still don't like. I see. There was a couple teams
ripping right now.
that Bo Nix like and I know everybody loves the Vikings with JJ McCarthy. I just don't see it. I just see a better version of Daniel Jones. Me personally, I don't know, but there wasn't many. All of them, most of them were on the defensive side of the ball when he came in. And Rome Aduzie, the wide receiver, he was still up there too. And wide receiver to me, given what Atlanta had, I just you still have Pitts, you still have London too. So I couldn't see them doing that. But it's tough, but defensive side of the ball, you can't do that with all that money.
I understand that. I understand. I understand, but I don't agree with it. Just because it's not as if they were it's not as if whomever they added was going to push them over. Like it's not like whoever they added was going to take them from I think Cousins will probably get them at about 8 or 9 wins, depending on where he is in training camp. It's not like whoever they draft is going to put them at 11 or 12.
Right.
You know, that's just where I stood on it. Now next, before we get to the 49ers, I want to talk Philadelphia Eagles. So their first, so correct me here. The quarterback they took first was worse than the cornerback, was rated lower than the quarterback they took second. Am I right in what I'm reading there?
Depending on who you talk to.
Confused. I'm legit confused about this.
Depending on who you talk to. For me, I like Mitchell more.
That's per Mel Kiper.
I respect Mel's opinions sometimes, and he's a nice guy. I disagree with some of his premises that he is not. I'm sorry, Cooper DeJean is not, to me, was not the highest rated cornerback in that class. He was third, maybe fourth. He does give you versatility. He does. He can play inside. I think he plays the slot very well. Which if Avonte Maddox, I'm looking like, uh-oh. That's what I think personally. You look at his ability to play that, but I look at Quinyon Mitchell. That's a guy who I can put on the outside and go, you know what? That Quinyon Mitchell is their Lito Shepherd back from the 2002 draft. I see it a lot. A guy who's a ball hawk, a guy who will hustle down on the backside of the ball, who's not afraid to get dirty in the run game as well, too, who has the closeout speed, too. That's the important thing. I look for, especially guys who have that closeout speed. If you're going to get beat, every corner's going to get beat, no matter what. You can be Patrick Surtain, what have you. You're going to get beat. Do you have the ability and the wherewithal to get back and get with that receiver, get close, and try to bat the ball away or intercept it without grabbing and getting penalties? I think he has that. Cooper, he does a little bit better. He showed something like that. Some things like that for there's a lot of tape for. I know everybody shows the Marvin Harrison, him going over Marvin Harrison Jr. I've seen that one a lot. But I just think overall, when you look at the overall offense, Quinyon Mitchell to me is better than Cooper DeJean. The fact they got both of them, I still can't believe they got both of them. But the way everything fell, and I think it's gonna be an expensive price to pay to get those 2 second-round picks because I could have saw a lot of ways going on that one too. But to me, he was not the second best cornerback in this draft.
Well, yeah, Lito went first. Sheldon Brown went second. Michael Lewis went second.
Michael Lewis went second. Yeah.
And then Sheldon went third. And that was their defensive secondary for a good 4 or 5 years, right?
Yeah, I still remember the class, the Pro Bowl picture where it's everybody except for
Michael Lewis.
I think it was everybody's a Sheldon Brown.
Or Michael Lewis. Sheldon. No.
Sheldon was sitting at home like, yo, what's up? Yeah, because I remember Michael Lewis was in. It was like, hey, Michael Lewis got in over Sheldon. And Sheldon was sitting back at home like, yo, I'll get there next year. He never did. It would suck.
Yeah, but they were, and Lito was a ball hawk. Everyone said they were trying to keep up with the Rams at that point, and Andy Reid tried to peddle that draft nonsense. No, we were just getting old in the backfield, but they had Troy Vincent coming up on a contract. They had Bobby Taylor coming up on a contract. Was long in the two. Lane Bishop got abused, and Jesus, nobody cares about this. But the point,
I heard that.
But I'm calling myself like this dude. No one cares about this. But the point is, I didn't know much about Cooper DeJean. So all we know is that he's a white cornerback, and he's oppressed. What is the versatility? What is the athleticism? What is the playmaking ability that everyone is excited about with Cooper DeJean?
I think the ability to be able to move on the inside where you see the route tree basically really truly expand. Because when you're outside, you only can run a certain amount. So when it comes to the inside, his ability to play in space, his ability not to be flustered when he gets beat on that far as well too. And one underrated thing that I think when talking to some people as well too is his ability to return as well. I think that's a big thing, especially with the change for the kickoff role. That's another big thing as well too. So when you have DeJean on the inside going against some of these quicker slot guys, not so much pure burners, but the quick guys who can get around. Say if you had Devontae Smith on the inside, he's able to go against that type of guy. You can put him on the outside, you get his traditional one. You can even put him back at safety sometimes. I don't think he's going to be playing there in the pure safety lot. You can use him here and there, but maybe you see him back in like a cover 3, cover 4 with that deep. But I think he's way more of your underneath guy. And when he looks good enough when it comes to terms of passing off the match, especially with that Vic Fangio defense and how much it's almost like the John Chaney matchup zone they use underneath, and it's involved.
That's a great pull by you. That's a great pull by you.
Had to do that. But you look at the way he has all. You do that.
No, good. No, I was gonna ask. I haven't seen any highlights of him tackle. What are we looking at as a tackle? Because that was a lot of the Eagles' problem last year. They weren't a good tackling team. They got their
He
arms on people, they didn't bring them down.
he throws his throws his shoulder in there. He's not afraid to do that. I think I worry about him that with any defensive back, but I think I worry about say the big boys. Like say if he was an Aaron Jones or a really or Derrick Henry, or they're going to see Derrick Henry this year when they get the Ravens when they go down to Baltimore to face the Ravens. Him lowering his shoulder in there, I worry about him when his wrapping in that field. Throw shoulder in there. I'm a little concerned about that. The one thing I'm concerned about, and I know this came up with Mitchell as well too, is ability to press. You don't see it as much, but his ability to press. If they need to disrupt somebody early on, if you're at the goal, say you're in the 5 yard line and you don't have 50-50 balls coming, that's where I worry about him trying to press if he's trying to do that and not playing so much off in the slant going underneath. But I think they for the second round guys they like and him not. If he was taking the first round, I would have been like, could have gone a couple ways. Kool-Aid was there. Kool-Aid, Carrot Top. I would have gone that.
I don't know as a black man I subscribe to ever drafting a grown man in Kool-Aid. I just feel like it perpetuates too many stereotypes. Next, we got Kool-Aid and his brother Popeyes. I just wasn't for it. What can we expect from Jeremiah Trotter Jr.? Full disclosure, for a lot of people who are new to the Philadelphia Eagles fan base, they don't know because it's not as heralded as other teams, but the middle linebacker position in Philadelphia is a sacred position. It's where that when the team is good, their middle linebacker is good. Whether it's Bednarik, whatever he played, but essentially it was center middle linebacker. But then you fast forward to the heyday when he was a really good. Byron Evans was the middle linebacker. And then they had Levon Kirkland on his last legs, right before they got shot. When they were rolling, they had James with the visor. I can't remember his last name. He tore his leg up.
Willis.
I want to say James. There you go, James Willis. And then you got Trot. And Trot, when he came out of Stephen F. Austin, struggled with a couple things, but he was like a bull in a china shop. He hit everything that moved and eventually took over the position, and the Eagles took off. What can we expect from Jeremiah Trotter Jr.?
I think there's a good comp. I believe it was Dame Bugler of The Athletic. He put on Trotter, and I can see it, is TJ Edwards. I see a lot of that in his game. I think Trotter's going to do really well. I think if he's on the field on rundowns when it comes to blitzing, especially I know we know Vic Fangio doesn't do it a lot, but if he wants to get a double A gas blitz or a B gap blitz and go up there for pressure through the middle of the field, through the middle of the line of scrimmage, he'll be very effective to do that. He works very well off of what the defensive line is doing, disguising it. He'll find his way to get back there and be disruptive. The question I have about him is consistently being the guy in coverage. And I'm not talking about like, hey, is a wide receiver screen, he's going to fly to the ball. That linebackers nowadays have to be able to do that. You really should. It's when you have a team going by 3-on-1, 3 wide receivers on one side, another wide receiver on the other. They put you in motion, meaning they're going to line you up directly with a second slot receiver in there. How are you going to do well in space? And that's where I have the issue and the questions I have with Trotter. For a 5th-round pick, yeah, I get that for sure. When you look, because by then you're looking for traits and you're hoping the guy is that, and his instinctiveness is really good. He got it from his father. He's really that. But the coverage aspect for me, and he has to learn that. He still has to work. He has to A, learn it, and B, have the athleticism and the quickness to be back there and match these receivers up. So I think he starts out a lot in special teams. Is going to be where he's going to make his bones this year. If Nakobe Dean gets hurt, which unfortunately is always a possibility, I think you see Devin White move over to the middle linebacker spot, and you see either Ben Van Summeren or Jeremiah Trotter play that will, which he's projected he can play both the Mike and will play both those off linebacker spots on there.
Okay. Yeah, when I think about Trotter, the Eagles got killed on tight end plays and stretches down the middle by the slot wide receivers. Because Daddy couldn't cover rice with gravy. Like he was not a good. He was not a cover.
I'm hungry, man. I can't say that. I'm hungry, man. You can't be saying that.
I'm just saying, Daddy couldn't cover right, but Trot would come down and hit, and that's why Michael Lewis was so key. So that's why I was asking questions about Cooper DeJean, because the world is going to fall off his axis and Reed Blankenship and Cooper DeJean in the defensive secondary together. Oh my God! Like, look, get it? White corners aren't, but this is sports. Like that happens. Sometimes you get an overflow of one type of player, one type of style, one type of cultural group at a position. It takes a while to change. I just didn't get the hoopla about it. And football is always. I remember talking with Emery about this. For basketball, I can look at a player and tell you right away if he's good enough. And then I'll watch game tape of the actual games, not highlight packages put together by his family members or somebody who's financially invested. Excuse me, but actual game footage of him. Football is a crapshoot. System, politics, excuse me, family ties. So many things go into a player reaching their full potential. So it's like, let's get this kid a chance before we start saying, he's in an oppressed position. Let's see what he can do. He's going into a football-starved city, team that's got Super Bowl aspirations. He's going to get a chance to play. See what he can do. Now, I got to get you out on this. I'm in the Bay Area. And I don't know if you remember, but coming off a Super Bowl, the San Francisco 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo, coming off a Super Bowl, do you remember when they drafted that next year?
Not offhand, but I'm afraid to hear the name because I might get shivers again.
Well, surely they're coming off a Super Bowl. Surely they're after they drafted Trey Lance. You remember that? Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
it's going to go down one of the top 5, top 10 worst draft picks, top 3 draft picks
Well,
ever.
before we go there, the reason I was trying to bring it up, but I don't like to use my phone when I'm doing the Zoom. And for some reason it's that. But yeah, Trey Lance. And do you remember who they drafted in the Trey Lance draft? Mr.
No.
Relevant, Brock Purdy.
Oh, Brock Purdy. Oh no.
So coming off a Super Bowl, Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, and Brock Purdy are in your camp. But this was after they signed Jimmy, and they were fully invested in Jimmy. Jimmy was their guy. Jimmy was happy. Jimmy was ready to roll, right? And then they go with Trey Lance. The reason why I bring that up is Brandon Ayuk wants a new contract, right? Deebo Samuels last year wanted to be traded. I'm pretty sure it was last year. Almost certain it was last year. So the 49ers this year drafted Ricky Parasol in the first round. And then in the, fourth round, they drafted Jacob Cowling. 2 wide receivers. Now, me not the smartest man in the room. I'm not the crispest French fry. But if you've got one wide receiver that's not on a trading block, you got another wide receiver who gets hurt anytime you play more than 18 games. And you go into a draft and take not one, but 2 wide receivers after you've taken not one, but 2 quarterbacks when you were coming off a Super Bowl and your prospect acquisition was a quarterback or trade or however they got you. Let's smell a foul for you at the wide opposition in San Francisco, or am I just fishing here?
Yeah, when I think it was Brandon Ayuk when he started like FaceTiming Jay Daniels, I'm expecting a trade to go down. Like he's already FaceTiming. He's showing this up. To me, that was like kind of that was. I know these guys hang out, they train together, all that stuff. To me, that was kind of showing up. He wasn't doing a show. He was just FaceTiming him and everything else. I think of AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts when they were FaceTiming after a trade. I'm thinking he's about to be traded, and he wasn't. I think he's gone. I really do. Or it's going to be well, even if he does play, it's going to be very uncomfortable. He's sitting in. There is no way he is going to go out there and going, "Oh, y'all ain't going to pay me. I'm not going out there for this." And it's going to be the unnecessary distraction that you have. And it's already tough for a team that not only went to any team that goes to the Super Bowl, winner or loser, it's tough, especially when you lose. So now you have that distraction hanging on for both of them, with Samuel and with Ayuk. Now you're trying to lick your wounds from what's going on. Now you got a question or Shanahan saying, "Can I win the big one?" You just added something that did not need to happen. And I'm sorry, Pearsall to me was not the pick to go either way. I think there were a couple other wide receivers that were a lot better than him on that as well too. So to add Pearsall, who to me, I'm sorry, he was like mid to late second round talent for me. Sorry, I just don't see what they saw. Maybe they have a grand plan. Shanahan, for lack of a better word, his scheme is compared to some of these other teams, Falcons, is a lot better than some of the other ones. So it's like I look at this, I'm like, I get it, but it's still not going to be. I don't think they think they'll get to that level of what it could be from here on out. It's just
Well,
I
we're on the
question
same.
John Lynch gets respected,
Yeah,
but I question it.
we're on the same road with this one. The question I have is, and this goes to Sean McDermott. Okay, you got rid of the squeaky wheel. You got rid of the squeaky wheel and a wide receivers because his name escapes me at the moment. I want to call him. It's not Tayshaun. I don't know why I'm thinking of Tayshaun, but you got rid of the wide receiver. You trade him to the Texans,
Oh,
right?
see
Sean
Stephon
McDermott,
Diggs.
Stephon Diggs, yeah. Trayvon Diggs. That's what I was thinking about. But you trade Stephon Diggs, you get rid of the squeaky wheel, right? Because it's never McDermott's fault. So now we flip to the other side of the world. We got another. It ain't his fault. Nah. In Kyle Shanahan, he fired Steve Wilkes, right? When it was his offensive line. Well, we won't go down there. But he fired Steve Wilkes, and you've got Samuels and I'm sitting there, Brandon sitting there, wanting to be compensated. 1 year before, 1 year compensated for their work. Now they got the Samuels thing allegedly taken care of. So that, but you're not going to pay this guy, and then you're going to draft his replacements, and then tell me, well, they're not his replacements. We just wanted to get the best players available, you know. And I think back to them drafting Trey Lance and saying, "Well, we're here for Jimmy. Jimmy's a competitor. Jimmy wants to compete. Jimmy wants to win. Jimmy wants more. Jimmy wants more." Well, what did Jimmy want? Out of town shortly thereafter.
I like
What
the
did Jimmy?
reference.
What did Jimmy want? Out of town. And then, well, Trey Lance is good. Trey Lance is going to be great. Trey Lance is going to be better. This is quarterback winner. Quarterback winner. Then we hear, well, Kyle Shanahan before everybody else says, "Oh, well, I think Brock Purdy's our quarterback." So who's making the mistakes? Who's making the personnel mistakes here? Because if you're giving, I just listened to you, and I'm using you as an example here. We're using an example. So listen, you ripped the Falcons because they gave Boy all that money. And then they drafted Penix. I'm watching an organization out here. This dude is skating on like he's got total autonomy. He's never called the question. He blew a quarterback, blew a big trade, blew a big signing, alienated his best players, and it's okay. Questions asked. Fires the defensive coordinator. It's okay. It was his fault we lost the Super Bowl. Come on that film tape and see if defense was the reason you lost. Now, the reason why I bring it up, though, is because it's very interesting when a year before your wide receiver was upset. Now, another guy wants to get paid. And I'm sure the 49ers have paid other people other than Jimmy Garoppolo. But it don't feel like it. It don't feel like it. And, as a team that consistently is fell short, you would think they won more Super Bowls than the Cowboys. But they both haven't won a Super Bowl, I want to say, since High Definition's been out. I'm trying to think. I
Yeah,
know the
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Because the Chargers was, yeah, the chart, yeah, it wasn't high def then. It
There was
definitely
no
wasn't.
High
Because you
Def
see all
then.
the old, you definitely see all the when they convert them over, it's always the bars that say NFL Network on the
Yep.
side. It's just a big thing for. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's
So they
ooh.
they both swimming in that boat of mediocrity. They rowing that boat of mediocrity together. And at some point, we're gonna stop saying it ain't Kyle Shanahan's fault and say it's Kyle Shanahan's fault. Somebody's got to fall on that sword for Trey Lance. Somebody's going to fall on that sword for Jimmy Garoppolo. How do you alienate Brandon Debo? I mean, that is. I mean, we can go to the running back that left and went to Miami. And what do you
Oh
turn
yeah.
around and do? Yeah, Mozart. What do you turn around and do?
Well, but Mostert got for. Oh yeah, Christian McCaffrey. Oh, we'll bring him in. Meanwhile, Mostert still looks like he's still damn good. So I don't
And
get
all
what.
he wanted was money.
Yep.
All he wanted was to be compensated. So
Oh,
it's like, and McCaffrey's played well, and his number's going to come up too. I think they redid his contract. Might have misspoke. I think they redid his contract. It's just interesting with me because Nick Sirianni's on a hot seat now. Like take that back. He's in a hot room. His seat is already burned. He's in a hot room. But you got other coaches that it's never, ever, ever their fault. They're never held accountable for anything. And it's awesome to
yeah.
watch.
It goes. I think it goes by the culture of the city. I know 49ers fans. I've seen them when they were talking when they're going facing and talking with the Eagles fans. They just chest it. But when it comes to looking at inflection, I give the Eagles Eagles fans a little bit more credit because they're actually more critical when it comes to the. Okay, yeah, we're 49ers. We can do this. Yay. Remember the catch? Okay, that's good. Yeah, we're hardcore. That's all that stuff now. But real quick,
Exactly.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when AJ Brown's extension got signed. I would love to see the 49ers group chat wide receivers. How do they get this? Why do they switch to? That just made it even worse. I think that just made it worse for the 49ers. See, AJ get the deal, Devontae get the deal, and now if I you I'm going like, the bar is set higher now. Hey, you gonna pay me now? And it's just, I think it's gonna start. If that rift is pretty good, I think it's gonna steer a little bit more and more from now on out.
We were the fly on the wall. We were all the fly on the wall because you know what they did when they heard about AJ's deal? They drafted 2 wide receivers.
Yeah.
That's what they did. We were all flies in the wall in the room. They drafted 2 wide receivers. They talked about I text one of the text the guy and said, "Oh yeah, that was a great pick." Really? Did he? Did he? Like,
Kevin
come
Hart there. I
on,
like that.
come on, boo boo. Really? Like,
A
okay.
wide
He,
receiver,
yeah,
really?
he's happy. He's happy that you drafted his replacement and aren't going to pay him, and he can't feed his family. He's going to come in and play on a 1-year deal and watch his replacement get more and more reps. He's watching like, oh, come on, man. I love it. It's great to watch. Quickly, what were your thoughts on the Commanders draft?
I actually kind of like, barring these. I know everybody's high on Senate and the corner. I forget the cornerback they took as well too. The 2 picks that they got from the Eagles in that one too. Aside from the players he selected, I like the execution overall. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be a really good quarterback for them. I look at the way I think they filled a lot of holes in there. So I I think the Commanders are going to be good. And I was worried about their team. I was more worried about than the Giants, as opposed to when you look at like 2 3 years down the line, who's going to be contender. I think they show they're competent now, and I still see what the deals they made. I think they had a really good draft. I'd probably give it a B plus for what they did, minus the first second round, one of the second round picks. I'm not was a fan of it, but yeah, I think they did really well.
You know, you and I are different. When I watch the NBA draft, well, when I watch every draft, I root for the kids. Like I'm a sentimental sap. I root for the kids. But there are guys that go to certain organizations and I'm like, and I'm just like, ooh, that's not a good. Ooh, I didn't have that with Jay Daniels going to Washington. I think that works out for them.
Yeah.
They don't have anything flashy. You know, everything is grind over glory right now. And Jay Daniels fits that. There's no expectations. They should be all right. Again with Penix, the same thing. I liked Penix going in, right? And I liked what the Eagles did in the draft. You know, I did not like Drake Mayo going to New England. I think New England is headed down a bad, bad, bad batch of football. And good for them. Good for them. I'm being honest with you. Good for them because they I don't want to say they were lucky, but opportunity met preparation with Tom Brady. And nice, it worked out for them. And they got lightning in a bottle and it stayed, that lightning kept going on. But at this point, I don't like Drake Mayo. I don't like anything about him. They still haven't addressed their skill position player problems. Zeke Elliott going to Cowboys is very cowboyish. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's reminiscent of trying to capture some success that never happened. You know, so there were a lot of things that were like, but yeah, I root for these kids. But yeah, those 2 quarterbacks, Daniels and Penix, I was not like. There were some guys that you're like, Caleb Williams going to Chicago.
He's done. He was done before he picked him.
So no, they said all you gotta do is beat out what's not saying. What is the quarterback's name? Like Frank Nowinski, not Frank Nowinski. You know, all he's got to do is beat out the quarterback that no one ever talks about. That's like 5 years. Well, Jay Cutler was a quarterback in Chicago, and he had a little bit of success there, but we don't talk about him much.
Jim
You
Miller,
know,
that one year they went to the playoffs. Yeah, that's it. It's like
yeah.
it's rare. Did you see that?
Eric
That's
Kramer, Jim
rare.
Harbaugh, they were solid. Were they great
Oh
franchise
gosh.
quarterbacks? No, but they were solid quarterbacks. But when the bar is so low that you got to go back to a guy that played with Fritz Pollard, there's some dark days ahead for you. Chris, I appreciate you, brother, man. Thanks for coming out. We'll connect again in a few weeks. And that is it for this episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk. Again, if you like the podcast, make sure you share, subscribe, do whatever your podcast platform allows you to do. And as always, he's Chris Franklin. I'm Kwame Fisher-Jones. We appreciate your time here. Peace. I can get this.